Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Professor Olugbenro Oyekan, of the Young Manager, the brainchild of Nigerian Institute of Management Chartered for many, many years ago. And we're happy to be here today, as usual, to witness the crowning of the Young Manager for 2018. So once again, I'd like to welcome you. And I think for your patience, we all deserve a resounding round of applause. Thank you very much. I'm more than certain that the other people are beginning to come in their 5s and 10s, and in the next couple of minutes, this hall will be more than filled up to the brim. Notwithstanding, we really have to start the program because as managers, we do not waste time. First of all, I would like to recognize, and I want you all to please join me in recognizing and welcoming the president of our preeminent institute and chairman of council, Professor Olukunle Iyanda, FNIM. With resounding applause to welcome the Deputy President, Mrs. Pat Ehizoge Anabo, FNIM. And I know that the Deputy President knows what I meant by I've gone to do my assignment. Thank you very much, ma. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, members of Nigerian Institute of Management Charter, please welcome with me our registrar and CEO, Mr. Anthony Fadaka, FNIM. I hope this skip would not end me a query. I'm sorry, sir. Thank you very much. We will take further introduction as they come. But we have with us this morning former director of Airtel Nigeria, who also sponsored the YMC in 2014. He's now executive director of sales of Intel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me Mr. Inosa Bello, FNIM. I'd like to recognize Mr. Feidayo Akeju, MNIM. Well, at this juncture, I would like to, and please join me in inviting the President and Chairman of Council to lead us in the national anthem, the prayer, and the NIM Code of Conduct. Please put your hands together for Professor Olukunle Iyanda, FNIM. I think we can keep clapping till he takes the microphone. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we do start our programs by reciting the national prayer, followed by the national pledge, and lastly, the Nigerian Institute of Management Code of Conduct. May I request you to please stand in reciting this. I think you have it at the back of the program or in the small card that perhaps you might be given. We start with the national prayer on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, great lofty heights attain. to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Thank you. The national pledge on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I pledge. And uphold that honor and glory, so help me God. And now we take the code of conduct of the Nigerian Institute of Management. 1, 2, 3. That I am getting things done. That I, as a professional manager, accept the most scrupulous and transparently honest and ethical process of thought for all decisions in my daily work, and be myself free of any fraudulent and or corrupt practices, and within my scope of authority, treat all persons as being equal and refuse to give special favors or privileges to anyone. So help me God. Thank you. You may be seated. The Deputy President, Mrs. Pat Annabel, the Registrar, Mr. Tony Fadaka, distinguished fellows of the Institute here present, and any member of council here present, the finalists of the 2018 Young Managers Competition, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome you all to the finals of this year's Young Managers Competition organized by the Nigerian Institute of Management. Thank you all for finding time to be here to witness this rejuvenated competition and encourage the participants. The Young Managers Competition is one of the Institute's contributions to the development and growth of young managers. It is an annual competition established in 1974 to ensure that young graduate managers between the ages of 25 and 40 years are imbued with innovative research skills and competence to hone their skills in gathering, analyzing, and using information to solve management problems and challenges. That the Young Managers Competition has achieved this objective is evidenced by the fact that many past winners of this competition have attained leadership positions in many organizations in the country. Two of such are Mr. Adebayo Jimoh, a former managing director of Odua Group of Companies, and Dr. Lucy Newman, the current managing director and chief executive officer of the Financial Institutions Training Center. The Institute has continually reviewed and revised the contents and format of the competition in order to make it more intellectually challenging, relevant, current, and credible. Since management generally works in teams, the competition has adopted a two-tier approach, which has an individual as well as a team component, rather than the previous competition, which was only among individual contestants. Are screened, and only those who met the criteria for entry are then subjected to an online test on individual basis. The best performing applicants then qualify for the finals, which are on team basis. For this year's competition, a total of 246 young managers consisting of men and women applied for the competition, but only 154 participated in an online qualifying test. At the end of the online test, 9 persons were adjudged qualified to be part of the final stage of the competition, constituted into teams of 3 members each, have been involved in rigorous and demanding tasks leading up to today's finals, in which the best 5 contestants in the test would make individual presentations on which they will be judged for the winner. We wish to express our appreciation to our distinguished panel of judges for their time and for making their experience and skills available to us. Needless to say, without their contribution and sacrifice in this role, this competition would not have been a success that it is. I also wish to take this opportunity to thank the individual and corporate organizations which have supported this program with their financial contribution. I must specifically acknowledge the kind donation of Messrs. Wright Adekunle, Isa Idris Danazumi, International Business Bureau Limited, Mrs. Bello Carol Uma, Professor Benro Oyekan, Mrs. Yewande Adekoya, Mr. Lawal Mukaila Ayila, and Mrs. Phoebe Simon. I also wish to seize this opportunity to appeal to others, individual persons and corporate organizations, particularly our corporate members, to partner with the Institute in designing, funding, and donating prizes to this competition. I assure you that the relationship will be a mutually rewarding and beneficial one. With such support, we will be able to expand the scope and duration of the competition, as well as encourage much larger participation of young managers across the country. The star prize for the winner of this year's competition is a cash prize of 1,500,000 naira, while the first, second, and third runners-up will be rewarded with cash of 800,000 naira, 500,000 naira, and management training programs at the NIM headquarters worth 200,000 naira respectively. Finally, while congratulating all the participants on getting to the final stage of the competition and wishing them all best of luck, I do hope that next year's competition will be better, richer, and continue to be rigorous such that we can continue to nurture the young managers of today to take the place and replace management icons such as Dr. Chris Abebe, Omolayole, Onosode, Ogunlana, and Chivakiemi. I thank you all for your time, for your attention, and anticipated support of this noble competition. Wishing you the best of success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like you to clap a little more for the president. Please put your hands together for the president and chairman of council. I try to see you off, sir. Thank you. I'd like to recognize Prince Adetunji Ademisoye, MNIM, Chairman, Onike Chapter, Nigerian Institute of Management Chartered. Now, going by our program, the next item is introduction of contestants and drama presentation titled Everyday Management Affairs. This drama presentation is created and will be presented by the 9 finalists. As part of their activities based on which they were judged during the last 3 days, and in their team formation, they've also come together to create one drama that will take about 15, maximum 20 minutes. And we will need some time to prepare the stage for that. But invite all of the 9 persons to come on stage. I'll give them the microphone to mention their name and what they currently do, so that it will be an opportunity for us to meet them one-on-one. I have been seeing them for a while, so it's good for the president and the rest of the people. Please come on stage. Let's put our hands together for them. I don't know, I think these guys have mixed feelings about me, but it's fine. So, I'll start the introduction. Shall I start with the ladies, okay? Right. Oh.
The President and Chairman of Council, the Vice President, the Registrar, the Deputy President, the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer, all other protocols duly observed. My name is Dr. Akinwale Iyeku. I'm a medical practitioner. I work in the private sector in Abuja. Thank you.
Good morning to the President, the Deputy President, the Registrar, fellow members of the Nigerian Institute of Management, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ibiduni Lawani, a graduate member of NIM, and I am a HR professional working with Pelon Memorial Hospital.
Good morning, Mr. President and Chairman of Council, the Vice President, the Registrar, and other members of the Council, members of the Institute, guests and friends. My name is Ayodeji Odeleye. I'm an estate surveyor and valuer. I work for a real estate firm, and I'm a graduate member of the Institute.
The President and Chief Executive, the President, Chairman of Council, Deputy President, the Chief Executive Officer and Registrar, distinguished fellows and members of the Institute, and guests. My name is Akinkumi Holaide Elizabeth. I am a graduate of Food Science and Technology and also a graduate member of the Institute. I am presently running a fashion designing business. Thank you.
The President, Chairman of Council, the Deputy President, the Registrar and Chief Executive of Council, fellows and other members of Council here present, members, associates and graduates of the Institute. My name is Abdulatif Shuaib. I am a business developer and a freelance management consultant. Thank you.
Good morning, President and Chairman of Council, the Vice President, the CEO and Registrar of the Institute, fellows and members of the Institute here present, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caleb Eke. I'm a telecommunication engineer with Huawei Technologies, a graduate member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, and I work in Abuja. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President and Chairman of Council, the Vice President, the Registrar, and distinguished guests. My name is Ikwemeni Sondamilola. I am an accountant by profession and also a graduate member of the Nigerian Institute of Management. Thank you.
Mr. President, Deputy President, and the Registrar, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Bakari Dare, a graduate of Mechanical Engineering at Obafemi Awolowo University. I work presently with Punch newspapers. I am a graduate member of Nigerian Institute of Management.
Good morning, Mr. President and Chairman, the Deputy President, the Chief Executive, and the Registrar. My name is Ukwelinda Chizoba. I'm a graduate member NIM. I provide business development support.
Thank you very much. Please bear with me. These people deserve another round of applause as they take their seat. Thank you. Just before the drama, like the president explained to us in his speech, there were over 200 people that applied, and over 100 people took the online test, but only 9 people were shortlisted. And so since then, these 9 people have been around for some days, and we have gone through a series of activities that led us to where we are today. Included group works, team dynamics, and a whole lot of management-related exercises that stressed them. They were stretched, sincerely. But I am sure that they will also agree with us that they are better for it today. And I think that it will send a strong message to the rest of the young people that this is one program that a lot of young Nigerians need to identify with. And Nigeria Institute of Management is still leading the pace in the growth and development of management. So we are ready for the drama.
I stand on existing protocols. We are the finalists of YMC 2018, and we have a short playlet to present titled Everyday Management Affairs. It borders on everyday management problems, insubordination, staff relationship, performance, key performance indices, and of course, promotion. So let's put our hands together as we welcome the YMCA team.
Training.
My dear, I thank God for the induction training. It was very, very educational.
For me.
I actually think it was nice, but I mean, I was not really paying attention. I don't know.
That's for you. For me, my plan is to work hard and start to get my promotion. No time.
Why? Why would you want to do that?
Honestly, I really want to work hard because I want a promotion. What's the essence of you working and you not getting a promotion?
I mean, this is Nigeria, for God's sake.
What do you mean?
You don't know what works in Nigeria.
Tell us.
It doesn't work that way.
No. Look, I have a plan. And as you see me now, I know my way to the top.
No.
I don't need all this. I mean, don't forget it.
I won't go through your way. I am going to work to deserve my promotion anyway.
No problem.
Let's go.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It depends on your hard work.
How's everything? I have work to do. How was yesterday's training?
Good morning, guys. Mr. Dari.
Good morning.
I gave you something to do for me some hours ago.
Oh, this one? I can't do it now.
What do you mean by that?
Me? Do this kind of work? We are at the same level now.
Show more age, Mini.
What's your age? Can you imagine telling me to do what?
What are you saying?
Come on, we are on the same level. Can you imagine?
I must report this to the HR.
What an insult.
I will report this to the HR.
Can you imagine him telling me to do what he is supposed to do? I don't have time for all this.
Work these days has been very hectic.
Hello, guys. Surprise.
What?
I have been promoted.
This is good news. Thank finally pays.
Yes,
you deserve some
I
accolades.
do.
Your hard work has paid.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Congratulations.
much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What kind of promotion? This is a slap on my face.
What do you mean?
We came in together.
But you know I'm very diligent and hardworking.
Oh, so I'm not diligent and hardworking. Abi, I'm going to report this to the HR. I think they need to give me an explanation for why my colleague will be promoted in this same company and I am not.
Anyway, Linda,
There has to be an explanation.
We'll got some celebrate. Ah, thank God, oh.
Good morning, all. How are you today? And how was the weekend? Mr. Dari, I heard your wife delivered over the weekend. Oh, congratulations. The reason why I called this meeting is that I've been getting some feedback in this facility, and it's not been encouraging. As you know, last week we had an appointment and promotions meeting of the board of directors. And of course, one of us here was promoted. I think we should give her a round of applause for that. I've been getting some feedbacks about the reason why she was promoted and some other people were not promoted. And I'm here to explain to all of you so that you will hear. Now, when Ms. Jane joined this group, she has been so hardworking. In fact, according to her key performance indices, she was able to cover all the grants allocated to her. Let me list some of it for you. She was able to enlist 10 new hospitals over the past 6 months. Is that not worthy of commendation? Apart from that, our new malaria tablet, she has been able to sell all the portion allocated to her. These are things that I want all of you as members of this team to emulate. You have little teams under you that work for you. You should be able to demonstrate by example how to be a good leader. I hope that is clear. So that is the reason why she was promoted and the others were not promoted. Hearing about insubordination at the workplace. No, that should not happen at all. The fact that one of you is older than the other does not mean that you cannot work together. Does not mean that you cannot work together in a team. So please, let me not hear again that someone is complaining because of the age of. All right. How come some of you are still frowning? I don't want that. Okay, all right. Do you have any questions for me? All right, thank you. You can go back to your desks.
Congratulations, eh? You know you're my friend. You know, I actually dreamt that we were promoted the same day. That's why. How did you do it? I'll come and learn from you, okay?
Playlet is that in an organizational setting, people will be promoted, superiors will delegate, and you will have to interact with both people who are above and below you in the organogram. The important thing is to remember that as a manager, you must be responsible for every action you take and whatever outcome that you see. Thank you very much.
Drama. And so I thought it was part of the play, you know, until I noticed it was a protest. Okay. That this is one point in our experience of today that we have all been waiting for. I would like to invite members of our panel of judges to please come and take their seat. I'll invite them one after the other. And I want you to please put your hands together for them. I didn't expect you to stop clapping, actually. Welcome with me our Deputy President, Mrs. Pat Anabo, FNIM. Please, until she takes her seat. Okay. Thank you. Admiral Michael Johnson, retired FNIM. And of course, my bosom friend, Mr. Temidayo Akeju, MNIM. I'd like to give microphone to the judges, and after that, I will invite the contestants one by one, and the judges will talk to us also about what they are looking out for and for how many minutes each of the contestants is expected to speak. And after that, the judges will collate the result, and I will come back to talk to you. I wish you a fun-filled experience, and I wish you all the best, guys. You agree with me that the YMC team deserves a resounding round of applause. It's going to run. You're going to hear the voice of the panel, but you may not necessarily see the face. So please give all of your attention. It's very important, please. Thank you very much.
Once again, the President and Chairman of Council, the Registrar, and the Chief Executive, the members of the panel have agreed on the ways we will score the participants. As you were told earlier, 9 of them came forward, but out of the 9, 5 have been picked to contest. And the names of the contestants are, I don't have their first name, I just have only one name. Ibiduni, Caleb, Akinwale, Ayodeji, and Olaide. Will you give them, please, a round of applause? All 5 will have altogether 80 minutes for their presentation. And the members of the panel will score them on composure, which is 25 marks, presentation, 25 marks, delivery, 25 marks, and appearance, 25 marks. You can see that none is higher, weightier than the other, and each one is very important. So as they come forward to give their presentation, please listen attentively, and you can make your own scores too. Thank you very much. Without wasting further time, I think the first candidate, Ibiduni, should...
Please, I present to you Lawani Ibiduni.
Ms. Ibiduni, you have 15 minutes. Please let us know that you are a manager. At the end of 10 minutes, you will be reminded that you have only 5 more minutes. Best of luck.
Okay, thank you very much. The President, Chairman of Council, Deputy President, the Registrar and Chief Executives, distinguished members of the panel of judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ibiduni Lawani, a YMCA 2018 contestant, and I'm here to present Rethinking Management in a Changing World. So the objectives of this presentation is to define management, to establish the characteristics of management, and compare the influence of management on the world with the leading change promoter. Management is the art and science of achieving goals through people. Management is a process. Management is a discipline. Management requires that people work together in a group to accomplish their selected goals. So it's not the same thing as other fields of science. Management is organizational. Management is strategic. The characteristics of management includes that management is a discipline. This means that it's a field of knowledge that transfers knowledge from one field to the world. It is universal, which means that anybody can actually play in management. It is not, anybody can play in management. It depends on your role at work. So if you're a doctor, you could be a managing director and a doctor at the same time. You could be an engineer and a managing director at the same time. Management bases its objectives on guidance. So the essence of management theories is to guide other industries. And then management is goal-oriented. So they set a goal, they set a target, and they establish a protocol to make it work. The true identity of our world. Now, the world we live in is a global village. And it has been transformed into a global village because of the influence of technology on our world. In addition to that, we see that the transformation has impacted different sides of this globe. So it has impacted medicine, technology has impacted engineering, technology has impacted education. And finally, management must survive the change in our world. And the reason why we need management to survive is because management is organizational. It's the only field that actually puts a structure on the industry, on the manufacturing industry, on education. So you have a school, there has to be a manager to put a structure in it. And that's why we must strive to keep management in the changing world. Now, looking at, I have a table actually that describes the influence of technology on globalization, and we set it at par with management. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole table because it's quite long, but from what we can see, it actually ranges from 1918 to 2018. And you see that technology actually took the first play, starting with mass spectrophometry. And for a couple of years, science ruled out new technological inventions. And sometime in 1932, management established its first theory. Now, this does not mean that technology is faster than management or that technology is older than management. It just simply means that management is process-oriented, and so it takes its time. Management has been here for a very long time. Okay, and so after a couple of years, you see technology always bringing out new inventions every year. Sometimes you see more than one in a year. And then management comes out in 1945, in 1949, in 1950, in 1954, and then 2005, 2009, basically. So we see that management actually took its time, but technology was faster. Now, the influence of this is that technology has taken over the world. And technology being problem-oriented has changed different spheres. So you have medical doctors who now rely on technology. You have teachers who rely on technology. And then you have managers who want to set up an organizational structure but cannot do that because everybody's looking forward to technology. We want the robots to take over. You want your computers to do everything. And so management is taking a backseat here. Now, that table was actually gotten online from a compendium called the History Timeline. So the first problem from this timeline is that gives us insight into why technology is moving faster. Technology provides problem-specific interventions, while management provides generalized intervention. So what technology does is that it picks any industry, picks a problem, and provides a solution. What management does is that it solves a problem that would impact the whole world as a globe. And that's why you have them reeling out inventions every year, because they have one for medicine, one for education, one for engineering, while organizational management does one that impacts every single industry. So for us to actually move with a changing world, we need to rethink in management. What we need to do is that we have to create industry-specific models. I know it's not part of the normal management structure because we say we are the guidelines for other people and we are the guidelines for other industries. But we need to start working on that, to start working on creating management specific models. In other words, we can create management models for engineering firms, management models for hospitals and things like that. The second problem is the disadvantage of universality. Everybody can be a manager, but not everybody can practice medicine. That's the truth. A lawyer can actually be the manager of a firm, but the manager cannot defend anybody in court. And that's because they have put a bar on their profession. Now, the problem is that since management is universal, it feels like it's invaluable and is dispensable. This manager studied business administration. I can sack him and I can do the job because anybody can be a manager. So I believe that in rethinking, management has to put checks on its profession. We have to lay an embargo. We don't want different people to come in as managers. The problem is that you have people who have not really been trained as managers leading the management sector. I read something, and it says that 20% of the world's CEOs are engineers. And I wonder why. Because 20% of the world's engineers are not managers. So we need to actually play a boundary. You can't practice management until you have reached this bar. That way, we'll be able to move with globalization. Now, in conclusion, rethinking management is a valid step for the management profession. We need to change with the times. Now, we're not changing because we're trying to keep up. We're changing because we have to keep management in place. There must be organization. If technology takes over and management is reeled out, because the truth is, after something is obsolete, it fades away. If management is reeled out, we won't have those management protocols anymore in place. So you have a company that is based on, different protocols of management. Probably this one has their own strategy of, illegal. I can't really explain because I'm used to organizational attitudes. So I can't actually explain, but you will have anarchy, basically, if we don't have managers setting structures in organizations. Also, science and technology have set the pace for the world's transformation. And the sustainability of management lies on the ability of its professionals to change the game to suit the environment. We've been there longer. Management is actually older than science, let's be sincere. That's the truth. We've had world systems from the early 2000 BC and things like that. When we've had kings, we've had people managing civilization. So we've been there longer. So we shouldn't be pushed out of the system. We should stay. Finally, in changing the game, we have to move from being goal-oriented to being problem-oriented. Organizations, we have to put in money into management research. Let us start solving problems and reeling out new theories like they do. It doesn't mean that we are trying to keep up. It means that we are trying to set the pace and to keep organization, strategy, and planning in place. Thank you very much.
Miss Ibidu, Ni. Thank you very much. You spent 10 minutes and 47 seconds. You managed your time well. We will call you. Should we take questions? Okay. Okay. So that we can do everything at a go, we'll just take 1 or 2 questions now. Are you ready for that? Okay. We'll just take 2 questions, one from this side and one from this side. Mr. Jude, can you conduct that? Please raise up your hand and let's see those who want to ask questions. Oh. 1 question, 1 contribution.
Standing on existing protocols, well done on your presentation. It was very insightful, but I have a question. In your presentation, you talked about, okay, my name is Aderunke Oshinjobi. Sorry, sir? Okay, I'm a member, NIM. Based on your presentation, you talked about if you are a doctor, you can manage, but if you're a manager, you can't be a doctor. Now, you also said certain standards. Now, you also now later said management has been in existence way before because we've had kings managing empires and their kingdoms. Okay, so now I think management is part of every profession. So I don't think you can separate management from profession, because from your presentation you talked about management sort of gives organization. It gives us organization. So my question is, if we create that separation, how do you then want to achieve organization in those sectors?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me give you an example. We've had native doctors in the past, let's say 1900, before civilization came to Nigeria. We had native doctors, but can they actually practice medicine? They've been doing it, but there's now an embargo. You can't practice. Even if your father was a doctor and you have been doing it, you can't practice. The reason is that they want to set a standard for medicine. So in the same sense, we need to set a standard in management. When we make that division, you will see that they would actually hire professional managers to control their organizations. That is just basically, I can argue, but I cannot argue in a court. So if I need somebody to defend me, I would hire a lawyer. And that sets organization in the judicial industry of Nigeria. So we need to set that organization. We need to show the world and the manufacturing industry and the other industries that management is a profession of value. And for you to join us, you have to show that you can actually give your best and that you can actually follow due protocols. So that is the reason why we need to set that standard. We can actually divide it. The thing is, they now have to start hiring us, basically.
Thank you very much. You can take your seat.
I'd like to introduce AK Caleb. Please put your hands together for him.
Mr. Caleb, you are welcome. You have 15 minutes for your presentation. And starting from now, you can begin. Thank you.
Good afternoon, panel of judges. Good afternoon, executive members of the Nigerian Institute of Management, ladies and gentlemen present. My name is Caleb Eke, and I'm here to present a discussion on the topic rethinking management in a changing world. And this is a presentation made by Caleb Eke, NIM YMC 2018 contestant. Our world is evolving, but we are not evolving as much. Things are changing rapidly from year to year, but maybe not the people as well. This work or this discussion introduces a new perspective to management and suggests that while new concepts and ideas are embraced, existing values and systems that have sustained management practice over time should still be upheld and consolidated. To this end, management can be said to be an act of dynamic service. In Peter Drucker's definition, I decided to bring some definitions of management by renowned authors. Peter Drucker said that management is considered to be a multi-purpose organ that manages business, manages workers, and work. Now, while this is not far from the truth, of course, it doesn't mention the purpose for which management exists. And then going forward, a lady named Mary Parker Follett toes the same line when she says that management is the art of getting things done through people. But then, a man named George R. Terry gives a more explicit explanation to management. He says that it is a distinct process of planning, organizing, actuating, and controlling, utilizing in each both science and art, and followed in order to accomplish predetermined objectives. And much clearly, this is illustration gives the activities for which management is aimed at. And although he doesn't reference, the process or who runs this process, whether it runs itself, but his explanation goes a little further than that of the previous two authors. But then this paper discusses the redefining of management activities, scope, and systems in line with globalization as a recent trend. Now, some of us might have been here when the walkie-talkie started. What if you still had your walkie-talkie since 1981 till now, 2018? I mean, how would it be? You would have a phone, of course. You would maybe still be able to make calls, but you would not have access to the full benefit of owning a phone in 2018. Now, I decided to use this analogy because telephones have moved very tremendously in advancement from 1981 till now. We've moved from the walkie-talkies down to the ultra-sensitive phones, for which very soon we might even see phones for which we don't have to touch to operate. This is where it all started. In the previous times, in medieval era, all you needed to succeed in business was to have suppliers who deliver resources to you in form of capital or raw materials. And then you, the firm, being able to supply products to the customers. This was
the manager is at the focal point of the business with an appropriate interaction between himself and the owners, himself and the customers, himself and the employees, and as well the suppliers.
This places the manager at the focal point of any business or any organization because he interacts with all these key people or key factors that influence the success of a business. We take a look at the factors that influence the success of business. Whereas we have all these other internal changes or internal factors for which I mentioned earlier, we still have some external factors that affect the business. It's not just the employees, it's not just the customers, it's not just the owners, neither is it just the suppliers. Of course, we have the government and quasi-agencies that also affect businesses externally. If the government makes a new regulation, it can affect your business regardless of the relationship between the manager and the owner or the manager and the customer. Quasi-agencies, maybe I should give a further explanation to that, are agencies of international repute that make adjustments to policies internationally or maybe locally that affect whether non-state actors. Organizations like the IMF, the World Health Organization, the United Nations are quasi-agencies, and so I classify them alongside the government. We also have unions. The We No Go Gree sign is something that every manager is scared of. I mean, when unions come together, they stand their ground, and it's either you play to their tune or there's a strike. And of course, in Nigeria, we've had a lot of them recently. But then, this factor influences the success of a business because if the union decides to stop work, the manager cannot do the work himself. Interest groups, maybe human rights organizations also have an influence because they move motions for policies that maybe relate to non-use of the non-use of guns or the non-use of the stop in the use of or in abortion in the society. So they move for social factors or social laws that help to keep the society in check. Also the media, of course, in the 21st century and especially in 2018 and going forward, the media has become a very important part of any business. And not just in promoting the business, in also pulling down the business. If a message about any staff is released in the press, it can affect the confidence of the customers, with regards to that company. In a particular example, an energy company in the US, in Texas, Enron, was said to be doing very well. And this we had an analysis of during our exercise, over the last 3 days. And Enron had a good reputation with stocks rising, but then one day the CEO stands upon the stage in front of the press and insults an investor because the investor asked for balance sheets. And from that day, the stocks began to go down. This is how the media can affect the success of any business. And right now, with the use of social media, if a picture about wrong production processes for a company is released probably on WhatsApp, Facebook, or Instagram, from that moment, sales can begin to drop for any company, regardless of the other factors being in place. Now, globalization as a concept for which we are also looking at is the combination of efforts towards making the world a global community and as one village, with advantages for management, of course. There's foreign investments. Now you can have an investment in China and run it from Nigeria. There's ease and efficiency for management now. You can administer work to your staff, probably from a distance, whether you are in the office or not. There's increased trade as well. You are no longer limited as a business or as a company to servicing only customers in Nigeria. Somebody can patronize you from Ghana, from the US, from Canada, right here in Nigeria. And it has made way for advancements in technology, transport, communication, education, and the regulation of trade that makes trade fair to all parties. But as an opportunity, it poses an opportunity for management, and it also poses a disadvantage for management. The opportunity is that management can now outsource aspects of the business to an expert from another country, and such contributions can be done remotely at reduced cost. Some companies now have their websites managed by somebody in India while they are here in Nigeria. And as a disadvantage, management can no longer make plans with just issues impacting their immediate environment. As a manager, you are no longer limited to planning just because you cover Ikeja as a metropolis or as a small area. your plans will be limited. You now need to make plans for Nigeria. You need to make plans for the globe. You need to make plans for other countries. Why? Because if you do not make plans with those things in mind, other companies, maybe international, can come take over your own market for which you think you have control over if they find it profitable. Now, in displaying this, I decided to do an analysis on the telecommunication industry in Nigeria. This chart shows the top 4 telecommunication companies in Nigeria: MTN, Airtel, NIM Mobile, and Globacom. If not for the issue in NIM Mobile, which made it a Nigerian company by dissolution of the board, Globacom was the only Nigerian company before now, purely Nigerian company, owned Nigerian company. But Globacom has about 40 million subscribers, and this accounts for just 25% of the total number of telecommunication subscribers in Nigeria. Now, it means that the Nigerian telecommunication industry has been made open to global companies. Airtel, run by Bharti, and all other companies from different countries. And now, in comparing the profit margin, Globacom has made about $4.2 billion since its inception in Nigeria. But the combination of these other 3 foreign companies has made 7 times that amount in Nigeria, 28.3 billion naira. That is an opportunity. It means also that a Nigerian company can make this much, even much more than any other company that is in another country, if they embrace the concept of globalization. Now, while we make these advancements, we also need to make sure that the existing values are not lost. What are these existing values? Integrity, transparency, responsibility, fairness, accountability, equity, effectiveness, and efficiency. And if you're a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, you know that these are the values that we share in NIM. Now, while trade is expanding, there are so many rooms to cut corners. We must ensure that as managers and as professional managers, we maintain these values to ensure business integrity. We also need to maintain the management hierarchy: top-level management, middle-level management, first-level management, and individual contributors. Because if we decide to break this down because we want to rethink or globalize, we might dissolve the strength of management. And this top-level management, I made an illustration of an example of who these people are in a company. We have the president and chairman as the top-level management, mid-level department heads, first-level supervisors, and individual contributors, salesmen. In conclusion, the world is rapidly evolving, and like Mattarelli said in Forbes magazine, she said that the world is now a living thing, and living things grow. So the world is growing. And of course, managers should see the world as it is today, not as it was yesterday. Managers need to create a system that adopts and embraces evolution because the world is evolving. And with this in mind, I came up with a definition of management in line with the NIM Code of Conduct, that management is an act of dynamic service delivered by selected people or person within an organization to constantly embrace internal and external changes, new concepts, while upholding existing values for policy and strategy, without which an organization cannot attain full potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eke. Your delivery took 13 minutes and 38 seconds, so you were within the time limit. And like the first presenter, we're going to give you the opportunity, give the audience the opportunity to ask you or contribute a question or make a contribution, and you take them accordingly. I just need 2 more people to ask questions or make a contribution. One from Yes, please, you be number 1. And anybody from here? Okay, this other group will take the... Who's the other hand? Okay, you.
My name is Jide Ayegbusi. I'm a graduate member of NIM. I lead the team at EduSchool Africa. We're a platform where parents find good schools for their kids. My question is simple. While you were talking about factors that influence management, you never made mention of technology. We're in a world where technology is revolutionizing a lot of things, you know, including how we manage our resources. Do you want to tell us why?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Alexander Kadeze. I'm a graduate member of NIM. My question is, okay, I work at Aja. My question is, in our organization, we have a manager, but the organization runs like this. Due to the influence of technology, the front desk reports to the owner of the company and then copies the manager. Why, if the manager wants to send message, he sends it to each of us through email. So I want to understand, how can the manager rethink his position and make his position relevant? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your questions. I would start with the first question. Why we do not have technology as an external factor influencing management in the slide. Yes, I agree with you that technology is a very major part of an external factor influencing management, but I made mention of the media, for which I narrowed down into social media, and that was the point where I began to explain the recent advancements in technology and how they influence management. But thank you very much for that observation to particularly specify technology. I appreciate that. And for the second question...
Please, no clapping. Thank you.
For the second question, if I understand what you mean that when you send messages or emails as a staff, you copy the manager. But when the manager sends his back, he sends... Thank you very much. I think that is a very important case study, a management case study. Why? Because it's actually a breach of protocol for the front desk officer to send messages directly to the owner of the company. And I think that can cause, like I said, I mentioned that the existing systems and values should not be watered down, even if we are rethinking management. So even if you want to make work much more effective by letting the staff relate very much with the top executive, it is important we maintain the management hierarchy, like I said, top level, mid-level, first level, and the contributors. And so I think the front desk officer stands as a contributor to the business. And in that case, if you're doing a case study to help that business, there should be a procedure for which information flows backward from the front desk officer to the top level management. So the manager might not exactly be the one to impose himself on the front desk officer, but I think the management should state clearly the processes of information flow within the company. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and you are excused now. Okay? Thank you. Kinwale, right? Yes. Okay. You have 15 minutes for your presentation, after which you will answer one or two questions. You can begin your presentation right now.
Thank you, ma'am. The President and Chairman of Council, the Deputy President, the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of our great institute, distinguished members of our great institute, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akinwale Iyeku. I'm a member of our great institute. And this afternoon, over the next few minutes, I will be talking about rethinking management in a changing world. As a preamble, nothing is permanent but change. Another preamble, change brings opportunities. In order to do justice to this topic, I will be talking with the following aims on mind. I would like to elucidate on the world changes that have significant impacts on management. I would like to explore the challenges of modern trends that they pose to management. I would like to determine the opportunities that contemporary changes pose to management. And then I would like to justify a balance between revisiting management, its role, and its functions. This will be the outline of this discussion. The world is changing, and it is changing at an alarming rate. A lot of things that we do today would not have been possible several years ago. These changes reflect the expectations of society in every facet of human endeavor, and therefore continuously calls for untraditional methods of solving problems. The bulk of these calls, the bulk of these expectations actually rest on the table of the stewards of the society, who are the managers. Management as a term itself has been given different definitions. And by way of definition, I will talk about two definitions in order for us to move forward. Management is the art of getting things done through and with people in formally organized groups. Another way to define management is to forecast, to plan, to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control. Then, rethinking. What is rethinking? To think again about a plan, idea, or system in order to change or to improve it. Or to think carefully about someone or something, especially in order to change a choice or to change a decision. What is changing about the world? A number of things are actually changing in the world. In the world today, the way we learn has changed. You can actually sit in the comfort of your house and get a degree. You can actually learn about new things online. Then the way we do business has also changed. Then apart from that, the way we access healthcare, there's a concept of telemedicine and telehealth, where you can be in a rural village and then you can access healthcare from a doctor, a specialist, outside in the city. Then, of course, the way we purchase products and services. We can all go online on e-commerce applications and purchase products and services. These are things that have changed in the world, and there are so many of them. So what are the prospects for management in the face of all these changes? Let us start by talking about the functions of management, and then we'll see the prospects for each of these functions of management. For planning, how do these changes affect planning? Via teleconferencing meetings, via virtual reality or augmented reality meetings, a CEO can actually be on a trip in Paris and have a meeting with his board members here in Lagos. This is a way technology is influencing positively management. Then there are also event planning softwares, and information is readily available for planning. If you want to do a market survey, you can go online and then you can speculate on how to go about a business proposal. Personal assistance, we know of Cortana and Siri by Google that can help you coordinate your activities of your day-to-day runnings. And then the concept of Internet of Things can also be adapted in the business setting. Okay, then staffing. Today, we have the applicant tracking system that can actually filter through thousands of applications, searching for specific keywords in order to make the work of the HR easy. Then we have biometric clocking out, automated staff payroll, and then control is also influenced by technology. Now, on this picture here, you would see a new worker that has just arrived in a workplace. This worker is a robot. His work is actually to serve drugs and to serve food to patients in a hospital. This is another way that technology is changing the face of management. Now, what are the challenges that the changes in the world brings to management? Now, in the work of David Otler, it says that organizations still need systems of management control, but it is likely that they will be very different from those found suitable in the past. This means that managers actually need to do the rethinking we are talking about here today. The simplicity and static nature of existing management theories implies that the dynamic changes in the complexity and the size of modern organizations are difficult to capture. This really also says that there must be a rethinking. So what are these challenges that the changing world brings to management? Cybersecurity concerns. We have banks now that have a very heavy internet presence. They can be hacked. This study here was carried out in Ogun State, and it shows how investors perceive the cybersecurity situation in Nigeria as an influence on making decisions to either invest in Nigeria or not invest in Nigeria. And as you can see, the first two bars there show that most of them actually agree that cybersecurity issues is a determinant to not investing in the country. Then, apart from this, for you to be able to use this emerging knowledge, you must be able to be the concept of a tech-savvy manager. Acquiring the knowledge is also a challenge to management, to be able to use the technologies. Then staffing. As we can see there, when that robot is put to play, then some of the people who actually do the work that the robot was meant to do would actually lose their job. This is another challenge of the changing world to management. Technology will not replace great teachers, but technology in the hand of great teachers can be transformational. How do we go about this? We can actually make this a synergy. We cannot dispose of people, and we cannot hide ourselves from the emerging reality of the present situation. So we can train and retrain our staff to maintain relevance. These are expensive to carry out because in the first instance, if you want to remove papers from your office, you have to pay for the application, you have to pay for the software, for the hosting of your website. It's very cost intensive. But in the long run, you get to save a lot of costs. And then to be able to convince people to make a decision to actually change can be an issue. So how do we balance the wheel? In this slide, I talked about the current management ideas such as delayering, which is compressing the pyramid of management into a simpler format, then right-sizing, outsourcing, and business process reengineering. I will talk subsequently about business process reengineering, giving the example in this next slide. This Michael Hammer actually moved forward and met with Ford and wanted to help them to reduce the number of papers they use in their working place. And then it was able to cut the pay of staffs by 75%, thereby saving the company a lot of money. Then, how do we balance the wheel? There are change management models. As managers, we would have to, in our rethinking process, learn change management. I'll just talk about two of these management models because we have not much time. Okay, here we see the Lewin's change model, which talks about unfreeze, change, and refreeze. What this simply means is that you have to disabuse the mind of the people of the existing situation. That is the unfreezing model. And thereafter, you have to do the changing process. And then the refreezing is that you have to solidify the change that you have achieved. Then the McKinsey 7S model talks about the strategy, the structure, the skills, and the systems that are existing in the institution. Those are the things you look at if you want to actually change. Because from my preceding slides, we see that we really need to change. Now, the options are numerous. The changes, as we can see now, can be garnered advantageously. The manager must be open to new ideas and be innovative in his or her rethinking process. The old way, which is going backwards, or the new way, which is going forwards. In summary, in the course of this presentation, we have highlighted the various points of interaction between the management and the development in the world today. I've also been able to demonstrate how a rejuvenated approach to the changing world can better position managers to make impacts on it. Although, undoubtedly, the world is changing, the basic tenets of management actually have not changed. But what it just means is that as managers, we'll have to place more emphasis on flexibility and creativity in order to make the best use of the changes in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Adewale. You managed your time well. You took 10 minutes and 30 seconds. I think that was good. Now we're going to subject you to just 2 questions, okay? And your answers to them will also enhance how you are evaluated. So members of the audience, yes please, Mr. Yeah, you be number 1, and the lady there, number 2. Thank you. Please make it brief.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Panelist, please. My name is Adetunji Ademisoye, member Nigerian Institute of Management. My question is this. I work for NASU. During your presentation, you talk about evolution of technology. In fact, you refer to robots and the role of robots in labor management. To me, I think this evolution is taking active part in what labor is supposed to be doing. When I say labor, I mean workers. What is the role of workers that this evolution of technology is playing vis-a-vis labor unemployment? Thank you very much.
For your question, sir. Apparently, and without disagreement, technology is one of the most important changes in the world today. And also, the use of softwares as well as artificial intelligence, otherwise called robots, is also key in this matter. Now, when robots, in quotes, take over the work of people, they actually might leave them unemployed. But the solution to that, which I point out in my next slide, is actually to train people to improve their skills. I do not believe that robots can take over the work of managers. However, it may be possible for them because managers have intuition and robots lack intuition. However, it may be possible for robots to take over the work of poorly skilled or unskilled people. But the solution to that would be to train them for that to be better skilled and indispensable. Thank you.
Agbarakwe Ibiru Jennifer, graduate member NIM. Thank you, Dr. Adewale, for your presentation. My question is, you made mention of flexibility and creativity. And Engineer Jude, when I watched the video clip, he said what he's actually looking for is something unique about you young managers, something different. Now, we already know the hierarchy of management. We already know the processes and things concerning management. Now, you made mention of theories. You talked about Michael, you talked about Ford, and I believe these personalities existed years back, right? Now, you talked about their theories. Are we still going to follow these theories? Because your topic is rethinking management. Do you probably have something new apart from the old, things we've been used to in order for management to progress? That's my question. Thank you.
In one of my slides, which may show in the reference, the last slide. Yes, one of the workers, that is the last reference on that page, that is Theory Development Introduction. Where are the new theories of organization? I think that is similar to what you're asking. In my research for this topic also, I tried to search for new theories, contemporary theories for management and the impact on our day-to-day practice. What this study is saying is that as of today, there are actually no adequate theories. Everybody comes up, from the finding of this study, everybody comes up with their different definitions, different theories, but there's actually not one that can actually work for people as of today. And I think that is one of the things that this gathering is for us as managers to actually go back and rethink this process through. You know why? Because technology goes very fast. And management might be a little bit on the conservative side, for good reasons anyway. So management has to do a lot more proactiveness to be able to catch up and propagate enough theories to work for what entails today. In another way that could be is that the technologies we have today apparently might be different tomorrow. Hence, management has to keep trying to keep up with that. I hope I've tried to answer your question. Thank you. Thank you.
And you wait for the next presentation, okay?
Okay.
Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
I dropped my pen. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols duly observed. My name is Ayodej Odeleye, and I will be speaking to us on rethinking management in a changing world. The outline of my presentation is this, and I would just like to tell us the basic objective of my presentation. It's for us to know that we need to change the way we manage our processes in order to align with the changes in the world, and especially technology. So, I'll be introducing my presentation. I'll be doing a little introduction, evaluation of management approaches, and I'll focus on big data, reasons for a rethink, and tools, and way forward, surviving strategies and tools. Then I will conclude. Before I go on, I'd like to start with this quote. There are only two kinds of managers, the quick one and the dead. I'm sure we understand that. Those that easily change to implement whatever is happening around them, or those that just stay wherever they are and they die. All right. So many definitions of management has been done, so I won't want to belabor us. But my other presenters, contestants, they've mentioned so much about AI, and I'm sure you can see that. That's a robot with human face. All right, and it's just points to tell us that the outlook of management has changed dramatically over the last few years. And there is a need for us to create a system and adapt with these changes. For instance, what used to work for the baby boomers cannot work for the millennials. What used to work for the Generation Xers cannot work for the Generation Zs. So we are moving forward every day. In our places of work, we have virtual reality meetings. Sometimes, I like to give this illustration that recently there was this war between banks. And I realized that the way the tweets were coming out, there was no reconciliation with the offices or the head office to say, should I tweet this? No. So things are changing very, very fast. All right. This figure shows us the evolution of management. From the 1910s to the 1950s, management was seen as functional organization and as a science. It moved forward to become a strategic planning, competitive advantage, and now we have big data in 2000. Big data is a process where massive information are stored in the cloud, and anyone from anywhere can pick this information and make good use of them. The question is, do we have management theories that are patterned to meet this big data issue? And we are moving to the process of unleashing. All right, so based on that evolution, I came up with this. That traditional viewpoint says that management is an art and science of getting things done. But we are moving away from that. Management is a process of influence. it's a prime mover of organization, making it functional and productive. The traditional one says that management is the process of planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling activities of others. But the modern one says that management is the process of creating conducive and proper internal environment in the organization. The traditional viewpoint says management mobilizes and utilizes physical and human resources for achieving organization goals. But the modern viewpoint says that management is a process of coping with changing external environment by relating strengths and weakness of an organization with it. How many factors of production do we have? How many factors of production do we have? 4, 7. All right. I'd like to tell us that our factors of production, land, capital, labor, environment, has moved from 4. We now have internet, because no organization can function properly without this. No organization can function properly without internet. So we need to create a system that would align with what we are discussing here. Rethinking management for a changing world. Now, these are my reasons for us to rethink management in a changing world. In our local organizations, for local companies, we realize that we currently have internationalization of different sectors. What do I mean by internationalization? Internationalization is a process where foreign companies come into a sector to invest, thereby either displacing the local companies there because of their strength. Now, they come with substantial array of financial resources, advanced technology, superior products sometimes, with powerful brands, seasoned marketing and management skills. They operate in a standard way. And they have good corporate governance, which some of our organizations in Nigeria, for instance, don't have. We are struggling. One of my contestants mentioned something about Glo, and I'll get to that. All right, so you can see the picture, the image of IBM and the image of Microsoft. What's the difference between these two organizations? IBM was the first. I'm a young manager, and I never saw the big computers that were stored in a big room, massive room, as big as this. I was privileged to see the compact hardware, which was done by IBM. But IBM couldn't move with these changes in the world, and Microsoft took over. So it is very important for us as managers to move with the trend. Now, but the good news for us is that we can still thrive in a competitive environment. For instance, Vist Group in Russia survived the competition posed by Unilever and Compaq. Also, Apple, as strong as Microsoft is, Apple is a strong contender with Microsoft. Was it last year? Apple still recorded massive billions of dollars in profit. Despite the fact that it's for the high-end earners. Now, after considering all models that we have for changing models for management, I came up with this. That's despite the fact that we want to change with our environment, we need to concentrate on what our advantages are. We need to create a niche for ourselves. It used to be our traditional way of thinking to the modern way of doing things. We need to also create right transferable assets. What do I mean by that? We have so many sole proprietorships in Nigeria. And when these international companies come, we can't compete with them. So it's either we sell, if we have a transferable asset, it's either you sell whatever company you have so that you can know that, yes, I have the money in me, with me. but you need to create a transferable asset for you to be able to sell it. You also need to rethink your business models. What are you operating on? Were you a sole proprietorship before? You need to either move to a limited liability company, look for a friend that you can do joint venture with, or sell out. Also, you need to engage with your stakeholders. Your stakeholders are the community, customers, workers, and competitors. Now, I also came up with this, that government should help regulate to protect and give local companies an advantage. That was why I said I was going to go back to a local company that made more money than others. Glo could make more money than others because government allowed them. They were the first company that government allowed to do per second billing. So as we move from our traditional way of doing things to the new way of doing things. And we also need to enshrine international standards in our practice and good corporate governance as we move on. So these are the tools I'm suggesting that we need for us to rethink our management process with the changing world. We need to work with internet, social media, emails, Internet of Things. We need to start peer reviews. No company can be an island of knowledge. You need to work with your colleagues so that you can be better off, so that you can be able to compete with these foreign companies that are coming up. And also, you need to be certified and operate in a standardized way. That is ISO and International Financial Reporting Standards. And we also need to be flexible with our human resource system to give room for innovation, training, and retraining for both our staffs and ourselves so that we can make the work productive for our people. All right. So this, I'm calling us to action, regardless of AI technology. While preparing this, I realized that Netflix says that it has a flat structure. That's what changes in our environment is happening to us. Instead of the hierarchical structure that we used to have, companies have started doing flat structures. But we are telling us that in a changing world, managers are to build a rational model for tomorrow, starting from now. And we need to be inspired by our stakeholders. Like I mentioned, our stakeholders, our community, our workers. We need to be inspired and we need to unleash that giant within us. We need to unleash the giants within us. And this piece has provided an explanation and conclusion for the need to rethink the management system employed by organizations in a changing world. Re-strategizing management approach is essential as some of the apparent growth in certain sectors of our economy have been hinged on the paradigm shift of management. This paradigm shift has led to mergers which have birthed some worldwide giant organizations. One certain factor not to be compromised is our quality, our tenets, our values. We cannot compromise it. Thank you very much.
Yodeji, thank you very much. You spent 12 minutes and 58 seconds. Thank you. What we're going to do now is to allow the audience to ask you some questions, maybe to clarify some points you've made. So I'll just invite the audience now to ask any question. Or you all understood everything he said. In that case, I will say, well done and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Hello. Hello and welcome. You have 15 minutes for your presentation. And after the presentation, you'll be asked 1 or 2 questions. So your timing begins from now.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and Chairman of Council, the Deputy President, the Registrar and CEO of this institute, our distinguished fellows and members, the esteemed panel of judges, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akikumi Olaide Elizabeth. I am a graduate member of this prestigious institute, and I am here to make a presentation on rethinking management in a changing world. Okay. The purpose of my presentation today is to assess the effects of the changing world and business environment on management. But I'll be focusing on social changes and technological advancements because we have a whole lot of other factors that are causes of changes in our world. So at the end of my study, I concluded that the management processes, which were based on traditional management theories, the old management theories, have to be modified with respect to the various changes in the world and business environment. Management. Management is a term that has a whole lot of definition, but I decided to pick 2. Management, according to Harold Kuntz, can be defined as the art of getting things done through and with people in formally organized group. And then Eric Fayol stated that to manage is to forecast, to plan, to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control. Management involves the coordination and utilization of resources toward a predetermined, a set goal, a predetermined result in an effective and efficient way. Management processes is made up of certain activities which include strategy formulation, how you want to go about it, planning, control, decision-making, directing. Now, going on to the topic, rethinking. Is a prefix. When you see it means something will be repeated, done again, So rethinking means, according to Cambridge English Dictionary, it means to think again about a plan, an idea, a system, in order to improve it. Our changing world. Before, management really focuses on the process of getting things done effectively and efficiently. But now, the focus is changing to meeting customer needs, improving employee, building them, adding value to them. The role of a traditional manager is changing from being a controller to being an innovator. Because, there are different challenges there are different challenges based on competition. So you have to improve on your old ways of doing things. So a traditional manager moves from being a controller to being an entrepreneur, not afraid to make decisions that are risky and being innovative. Now, I said that I'll be focusing on technology, and technology as one of the factors that causes change in the world, then affecting management. So, impact of technology on management theory. So I'll be taking 2 theories. The first one is the scientific theory. Frederick Taylor, an American mechanical engineer, described how the scientific method could be applied to managing workers, through optimization and simplifying the way works were performed, the way tasks were performed. Managers could direct workers to complete tasks in one consistent way, but now through the introduction of technology, such as computer, hardware, and software, artificial intelligence, tasks were formerly performed by people are now being performed by machines. Now, impact of technology on organization theory by Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol, he developed 14 principles of management, And the theory stated that there were 6 functions of management, namely forecasting, planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. Now, the impact of technology on its management theories extends to every unit in most organizations. But now that the technology is taking over, computer hardware and software applications have replaced paper-based organizations. You can just use your computer to do major works, to organize your work, get your work done even faster. Now, I want to speak on the further impact of technological advancement on management. The use of telecommunication devices in the global organization has made it possible for many teams to be made up of employees working from different countries. You could have team members working in different countries. You can have some in Ukraine, some in England, some in Nigeria, and you can still bring them together. You know, you can have what is called webinar. You can have meetings on webinar. Okay, so this has made the utilization of each member's ideas and innovation easily accessible, no matter the distance. So this gives room for self-development of the employees. Now, technological advancements, fast-paced innovation, and customers' expectation now force organizations to adopt what we call strategic management, which is a major effect of technology on management. The strategic management is a modern innovation in management in order to remain successful and relevant. It involves continuous planning, monitoring, analysis, and assessment of all that is required for your organization to meet targets. It is more than planning. Planning could just be for a particular period of time, which could even be long. But this strategic planning, you have to keep developing your organization. You have to keep making researches. So research and all of that is a part of this strategic planning. Now I want to move on to the effects. How does a change in social behavior of the employers and employee affect management in our own world? Employees in these days are now in search of companies that has less layers of management and they have more freedom in the workplace where they can express their skills without their manager, their bosses feeling intimidated because they are controllers. They want somewhere they can express their talents, their skills, their abilities. They want managers who are easily approachable. Remember, the former theories that I stated said that they were controllers. Okay, so now they want managers who are easily approachable and willing to take their opinions into account. So this is evident in today's millennial-led organization like Google, like Netflix, that favor open working spaces where CEOs, managers, employees work along each other. Now, the secret to attracting and retaining the modern day workforce, which are highly skilled, they know what they want, is understanding what motivates them. Because in this case, it is more than money. Some people don't really care about the size of the salary you want to pay them. They look at the working environment. Will it allow them to express themselves? Will it allow growth? So, companies will now reassess the responsibilities of their own managers and train them to effectively manage this modern workforce. Modern employers, okay, now I'm talking about the effects, the effects of the change in the social behavior of employers on management. Modern day employers want creative thinkers who will come up with innovative ideas and solutions, not just people who wait for instructions. As a result, rather than giving others as controllers, managers must find ways to foster creativity. Okay. This is supposed to show the difference in the traditional and in our now contemporary management, but it's not really clear. So I'll move on to the next slide. Okay. Some roles of traditional and modern managers, I am comparing them. Traditional managers focus on operational goals. They have a line of doing things. You do your own, you do your own, you do your own, like that. Each person's result comes in. But these modern managers are focused on collaborative goals. We do it together, teamwork. Now, you are accountable for your results. But now, they achieve results through personal communication. And in traditional management, the authority is vertical. But right now, we have highly flexible and proactive managers. Okay. In order to accept adaptation, we have to see some particular failures of traditional management, old ways of management. And number one is that managers in organizations were trained to carry out functions of management, which include planning, organizing, leading, evaluation, but many of them do not really understand their roles or carry out their management function at all, particularly planning and evaluating. You know, it's a failure on traditional management side, but now that we have a change in the social desire of our employers, there is a difference. The model of management also assumes that the most competent, creative thinkers and best performers become managers. And this is not always true. The fact that you are capable, the fact that you are creative does not automatically give you a chance to be a manager. So, which is not always true, since many people achieve management positions for different range of reasons, which include your age, experience, talent, politics, politics. These managers get little or no training because they get into management based on their age or based on a particular level of experience, which may not be management experience, based on talent, based on politics. Probably they know someone somewhere, so they're able to get to positions of management. But they lack training. They have little or no training, and they end up managing others as they themselves were managed poorly. And this gives rise to managers who become passive people watchers. They don't do anything. They are not active process facilitators. They can't start a process. They are just there. In conclusion, according to John F. Kennedy, a former president of the United States of America, change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. We can't stick to the old way of doing things. We need to incorporate new ways of doing things, like that strategic management I mentioned. So we need the organizations that will flourish in this future, in this coming future, will be those who reassess and modify their management who reassess and modify the management in the organization to flow in line with our changing world. There is nothing wrong with change if it is in the right direction, according to Winston Churchill. Thank you very much.
For your presentation. You almost hit it. You took 14 minutes and 25 seconds. Well, you were still within the time allotted to you. Thank you for that presentation. Now you are going to take 2 questions from the audience. And yes, sir. You can have the first question. Anybody from this side? Okay, you have the second one. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Standing on the existing protocols. I am Igbinandolo Friday. I'm a graduate member of the Institute. My question is, you have talked about traditional ways of doing things and the modern ways of doing things. If, as a young manager, you find yourself in an organization of people that have this IQ of traditional ways of thinking, you have come now with your modern thinking to turn things around. And they are not giving you this chance to bring in your ways of knowledge. What will you do?
A chance because they don't know the great benefits my wealth of knowledge will bring them. So I think what I will do is I will make them see the benefits that I'm bringing. So when they see the benefit I'm bringing, I'm sure they will be convinced to allow me. Thank you, sir.
Everyone, all protocols embalmed with warm regards. My name is One-Eye Kerry Onyabo. I'm an estate surveyor. I'm also a graduate member of this great institution. My question here is, I will first of all start with the fact that no one can see a future no one can be in a future he has never seen. For you to be in a future, you have to see it. Are you getting me? I will relate with the Bible that says it will come upon, the days will come where my spirit will be poured upon flesh, and old men shall dream dreams, and young men shall see visions. I believe also that one of the great incentives of YMC is to bring out people who will see this future and bring the visions that they've seen into strategies. So my question is, having listened to all the contestants, I have never had one key strategy. So my question to you is, we are talking about change. What's that strategy you're bringing to the table? Thank you.
What I said is this. There is traditional management, and then we have new ways of doing things. The solution is that there is something called, I mentioned strategic management. It was not an old way of doing things. It's a modern way of doing things. And I believe when you bring in strategic management into your way of doing things, things will change because it is very productive.
We'll continue with a couple of other things. So before we go to those things, I would like to introduce and please welcome with me Chairman of UNILAC Chapter of Nigeria Institute of Management Chartered, Dr. A.E. Badejo, MNIM. 20 Management Students Association members from University of Lagos. Please put your hands together with him. Right. Executive Director of Sales of Entel, Mr. Inusa Bello, FNIM, for his comments.
President and Chairman of Council, and the Vice Chairman, all the fellows in this room, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Inusa Bello, and I'm a fellow of the Institute. I'm actually inspired to speak simply because we are talking about management, and suddenly everybody's talking about technology. I happen to be working in the technological space for the past 17 years. So when MTN started, I was part of the team. I've worked in Bharti Airtel as well. And I'm currently working in Entel, if you know the new 4G LTE, the former Itel that is taking over. And I was compelled because, and I didn't want to make comments based on what the presenters were presenting, but I was also inspired that, why will I sit in this room and not try to make one or two observations? And the reason, one of the presenters actually said certain things. I want us all to think, please, deeply and think about this changing we are talking about. And to note that even technology organizations are not spared. One of those slides attempted to present that. So you'll be surprised that even companies like Apple today might not be there tomorrow. If you go back some 3 years ago, Samsung became the biggest of all of them from nowhere. If you think about Nokia today, Nokia is almost struggling to survive. And so what I'm trying to emphasize is the fact that while we are talking about technology, we need to understand that while technology is actually causing so much changes, even the companies that are in that space, in the ICT space, are not spared. In other words, there are managers within that environment. Even if you are a computer scientist or a software engineer, you are not spared from the changes. Whatever it is that you have discovered today can be obsolete tomorrow. Go and check even vehicles, motor organizations. I mean, big companies like Honda. You know, they were almost going under in recent past. Sorry, did I say something funny? Okay, fine. If you also go back, some of us that were growing up in Nigeria, do you know the best of the cars that our daddies used in those days? Peugeot. Suddenly, where are they today? The company Peugeot in Kaduna is almost dead. And then here you are talking about some funny cars came on board a while ago called Hyundai. When you ride them, people laugh at you. Or they call them, I don't know, some of those come. But right now, look at the Koreans, how they've actually made room into this space. And some questions are asked in this direction. So what are you going to do when you find yourself in this environment? I must tell you, I was in MTN when we introduced this is life example I'm giving you. I'm not going to quote any lecture or any book anywhere. But when we roll out the 3G in Nigeria, that was like, MTN rolled it out in 2007, thereabout. Do you know it was a big problem within even MTN as an organization? Very few people could understand the whole thing around BlackBerry. I hope you all remember that. BlackBerry was like only meant for few executives at the top. And when you come to MTN, then you can count the number of us who could use BlackBerry. Maybe less than 30 or 40 were using BlackBerry. Then we'll have some few salespeople who will go and meet top executives to sell BlackBerry to them. Suddenly what happened? From nowhere, somebody developed an app, all the pinging thing. Where is it today? BlackBerry applications. Everybody started pinging, and it was all over. You understand? Even to the extent that Hollywood even made a movie on BlackBerry, and as if some people can even sell their soul for BlackBerry. And where's BlackBerry today? BlackBerry virtually is a dead organization. And therefore, suddenly from nowhere, you had WhatsApp. And things are happening. So the point is, even within this environment, managers exist. What are you going to do to actually stay on top of this? And one of the things that I did not hear all along here, which I just want to share here, is about attitude. Somebody talk about change. It's actually your attitude. As I speak with you within this room, if we raise our hands up here, you'll be surprised that some people are still scared to use WhatsApp. Some people are still scared to be on LinkedIn. Some people are scared to be on Facebook. Some people are so scared of even basic social media. People are scared. And so, to your point, how do you make people do things? Someone said something. How do you make people do things to something? Why will I not be afraid? If you don't address my fear, why will I accept change? Somebody talked about unemployment. Let me tell you, today we have close to about 10 billion machines. By 2020, you're going to be having about 50 billion machines. Between machines and men. And hence the robots and all that. Is this not scary? It's definitely scary. But then, the simple model that I feel that I've worked, even where I have worked, is that, for example, when we roll out the 3G, I also was lucky to be in Bharti Airtel. So when they roll out in MTN, when they roll out in Bharti Airtel, one of the things we did was so simply, some of us were lucky to be taken to Malaysia. MTN as a company was also struggling. 10% of our revenue was coming from data. And we had aspiration, realizing that voice was going to die. So a few of us were taken to Malaysia to go and study some other organization that was having almost 35% data revenue. What I'm saying here is that, therefore, it's about learning. So they needed to change our attitude. So therefore, they needed to show us how things work in order to reduce our fare. A few of us were co-opted into a mini group that now started adapting and changing. So there are different change models in management. The question is, how do you customize them? If you want to change the world, you want to change everywhere, you must communicate. You must address the fears of people, and then you must have a little group of people that will take you through and get people to adapt it change by change. Sorry, you'll find the millennials will take it quickly. Some will take time to do it. But another passing shot I would like to say here, somebody have been quoting old management theories. I would like to quote Steve Jobs here. And one of the things that I didn't hear anybody said all throughout this presentation was leadership. And I wanted to define management and leadership and live. You know, Steve Jobs said that, sorry, just this quotation. I had to struggle to write it out though I was sitting down. Steve Jobs said, management is about persuading people to do things they do not want to do. You know, while leadership is about inspiring people to do things they never thought they could do. Some of the great inspirational people I've seen around these days. I'm a Muslim, but I watch the TV a lot, and I watch some churches. You could see a lot of inspirational pastors. They don't tell you what to do. All they do is to inspire you. So think about it, and I'm sure you might find a few things in what I've said. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. As Director of Human Resources, Lagos Traffic, Mrs. Morenike Famakin. Okay, at this point, we will be presenting certificate of participation. Man of Council, Professor Olukunle Iyonda, to please help us, ably assisted by the registrar. Please put your hands together for Mr. President.
The president will be presenting a certificate of participation to the 9 of them. The first person is Damilola Ikwemesila. Ayodeji Odeleye. Ukwelinda. Lawani Ibiduni. Caleb Eke. Shuaibu Abdul Latif. Bakari Dare. Akinwale Iyeku. And Akikumi Olaide. Plaques to the members of the YMC team. They've been resident with the participants since Sunday. And they've supported the Institute in this project. Mrs. Godswill Ojeko Favor. They've been resident in the hotel with the students, with the participants, and they've been going everywhere with them. Mrs. Yewande Adekoya. And Professor Olugbenro Oyekon. We'll take a group of photographs with the president. A group of, okay. 2018 Young Managers Competition. On Monday, when we met with the participants, the contestants, I told them that they are all winners, irrespective of what today's results will be. They are all winners. I want to say that for everybody, there's a prize money. From fourth to the end, we get 50,000 naira. Fourth to ninth. So you are all winners. The results, please.
President and Chairman of Council, the Registrar, and my co-judges. We had a very wonderful presentation. I hope you agree. Can you show that? I think the 5 young men and women who came up here and made their presentation did marvelously well. All of them could be, could earn the first position. But as it is, you have to pick. There are first amongst equals, they say. We notice, that they are young managers, and we should give them that benefit that they are growing, but they showed a lot of courage. And what impressed me was that they did their research. They took the job very well. Well done. However, there is room for improvement. When you make your presentation, you should not actually read. You should not read what you are presenting because the audience can see it, right? So next time, some of you read, some of you didn't, but for future presentation, try and either, you memorize what you are reading or you speak naturally, because some of you ran into a bit of difficulty, So for your next time, I'm sure there will be plenty of opportunities for you to project yourself. You all did very well. I must emphasize that. The 3 of us were highly impressed. And that made scoring very difficult. We scored individually, but from the result, you will see that we were very close. We were all very close. So on behalf of management and staff and the Institute, I want to hand over the result sheet to the Chief Executive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, panel of judges. Thank you for the job well done. The last 5, please take a step forward. Another step. I may invite the President and Chairman of Council to make the presentation. Up. Up here, sir. Third runner-up, Mr. Caleb. Caleb. Second, I missed it up. Yes, I missed it up.
You missed it.
Hmm? Was,
Yeah.
Yes, how to correct it now?
This should
Apologies. Third runner-up, Miss Ibidunni. Third runner-up, Miss Ibidunni. With 71.6%. 71.6%. Third runner-up, second runner-up, Mr. Caleb. And the winner, okay, second runner-up. The second runner-up, the second runner was Mr. Caleb, and the first runner-up is Dr. Akinwale. With 79.3%. And the winner is with 79.5%, the winner is Mr. Ayodeji. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, you are all winners. You are all winners. Thank you very much, sir. As I said earlier, you are all winners. Thank you very much, sir. You are all winners. And I believe the sky is your limit. And I want you to remember to keep in touch with your institute. Keep us informed of your achievements, because you know you definitely move higher and higher from today. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the President and Chairman of Council, I want to thank each and every one of you. The judges, I want to say thank you for a job well done. Panelists, we are appreciative of your work. Our distinguished members of the Institute, I say thank you for your support. Our sponsors, we appreciate you. Gentlemen of the press, we are very grateful for your continuous publicity of the Institute's activities. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to invite you to the annual National Management Conference taking place in Kano from the 16th to the 18th of September. From the 16th to the 18th of September in Kano. Management Day, 19th of November, 2018. Is your limit. We hope you continue to be good ambassadors of the Institute. Thank you and God bless you all.